Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're diving into a really unique source, the unfiltered, often hilarious, and surprisingly insightful world of a stand-up comedian. You sent us excerpts from Joe List, Small Ball, Full Special, and, well, what we found here goes way beyond just the jokes.
It truly does, yeah. What's striking is how he uses his own self-deprecating humor and, everyday anecdotes, not just to make us laugh, but also to touch upon these universal human experiences, challenge common misconceptions, and even drop some genuinely surprising facts you might never have heard. It's an invitation to view the world and yourself from a fresh perspective.
Exactly. So our mission today is really to unpack these unexpected moments of insight. We're going to explore how his personal frustrations and humorous misinterpretations actually shine a light on bigger truths. Truths about technology's hidden influence, how we perceive history, the complexities of relationships, social interactions, and even some surprising bits about human anatomy. Get ready for some genuine aha moments because this deep dive is definitely going to challenge some of your assumptions. Okay, so let's start with those moments of everyday dumbness he talks about right at the beginning. They're incredibly relatable, right? Like trying to screenshot bird poop on his phone or instinctively trying to zoom in on a physical restaurant menu.
Or like an iPhone screen, yeah.
Exactly. We've all been there, that moment of internal cringe.
It's more than just a funny mistake, though. It really highlights a growing a cognitive dissonance, you could say, where our physical reality increasingly clashes with our digital expectations. We're talking about how technology isn't just changing what we do, but potentially retraining our brains in ways that could alter how we perceive and interact with the non-digital world around us.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, are we unconsciously rewiring our basic cognitive processes?
Right. That exact moment of, wait, what? That he describes? He even takes it further, joking about trying to zoom in on his wife's anatomy to see where the pee hole is, because he didn't realize women had two holes down there besides the,
Yeah.
It forces you to consider how much we unconsciously rely on technology for even basic understanding of the world. And it's not just our tech-driven instincts he looks at. He also had some truly wild revelations about his own knowledge of famous historical figures. It just shows how easily we can hold on to mistaken beliefs. I mean, he thought Picasso was Italian. Even seeing Picasso Spain on a plaque at the Art Institute of Chicago and thinking, oh, that must be a typo. That's some real conviction.
That level of conviction is fascinating, isn't it? It reveals how deeply ingrained our mental folders for historical figures can be. We often disconnect them from the continuous flow of time, his shock at Picasso being Spanish, from Spain, and especially his death year, 1973, not like 1380 or something.
Yeah.
Meaning Picasso lived to see Cars, Led Zeppelin, Ozzy Osbourne, even 6 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
It prompts us to reconsider how our understanding of history is shaped, and often limited, limited by static textbook facts rather than a truly dynamic timeline.
And get this, it wasn't just Picasso. He was similarly shocked to discover Mountain Dew came out in 1940. Picturing Hitler jacked up on Mountain Dew in a bunker.
Wow, okay.
These aren't just jokes, right? They're moments of personal enlightenment that mirror common public misconceptions. They force you to reevaluate what you think you know. Okay, so the source also dives into a very raw and honest, though still comedic, look at relationships and family life. The comedian talks about Picasso being a horrible misogynist who apparently hated women, and how he imagines Picasso must have been furious with the progress for women during his very long life. He specifically mentions women getting the right to vote in Spain in 1933 and Roe v. Wade in 1973, the year Picasso died.
It's a candid, yet even if comedic glimpse into how historical figures, even the celebrated ones, can embody these deeply problematic traits that clash with evolving social norms. And he even hilariously questions the logic of misogynists not wanting women to work. Like, if you hated a girl, wouldn't you want them to work like jobs suck?
Right. It's absurd.
It really highlights the absurdity and the struggles women faced for just basic rights.
Then we get into his incredibly detailed account of his wife's 22-hour labor, where he comically claims labor is kind of bullshit because his wife was asleep for 14 of the 22 hours, thanks to the drugs.
Well, he had to sleep upright.
Exactly. While he's stuck sleeping upright in a chair, he also humorously portrays the hospital staff as, hating men. And his observation of the C-section as a magic trick happening behind a curtain.
Yeah, and the striking thing here are the stark, often unspoken differences in the birthing experience for partners. His observations about the hot anesthesiologist, the comment about the huge placenta from some random voice, possibly a janitor, he jokes.
Right. Who said that?
Who knows?
Yeah.
But it's a detail, the placenta viewing. that many might not realize is often part of the process. And then those subsequent 45 minutes as a single dad, right after the C-section. It vividly illustrates the chaotic, personal, and often, absurd moments that happen during childbirth.
And even after the birth, his observations keep coming. Pushing the baby in a stroller where the baby is literally the first one in the street at a red light. We've all seen that.
And his jokes bombing completely at the pediatrician's office, like suggesting ketchup and mustard mixed together for diaper rash.
Oh, boy.
These anecdotes just beautifully highlight the disorienting, humbling, and sometimes, alienating experience of new parenthood. This deep dive also reveals a lot about how we navigate social situations, especially if you're a self-professed people pleaser, like the comedian says he is. He describes this whole system at Starbucks, where he blames demanding orders on a fake boss.
Right, just so the baristas like him.
Yeah, because he wants them to like him, even though he secretly hopes the place burns down after he leaves if his order takes too long.
Stepping back, this reveals that intense internal conflict, doesn't it, between wanting external validation and suppressing genuine frustration. And you see the flip side, too, like the anecdote about the runner, the one who insults a large lady by saying, "Don't you hate being out of shape?" Trying to connect, but...
Horrible. Yeah. It just highlights the disastrous results of poorly executed attempts at connection, and how our internal thoughts can dramatically clash with social expectations.
And his observations on others who seemingly just don't care what people think are such a stark contrast. He recalls a guy in a restaurant whose phone just kept ringing loudly, totally unfazed by everyone staring daggers at him.
I've been there.
And then a woman who loudly announced her friend, a bride-to-be, entering a breakfast restaurant demanding applause.
Oh my gosh.
These moments offer a fascinating glimpse into the diverse ways people either seek or completely reject social approval. Okay, this deep dive even throws in some unexpected anatomical and social curiosities. In this comedic rant about not liking his testicles touched during sex, he just casually drops the very real and serious fact of testicular torsion, saying, you can die if you twist your balls.
It's remarkable, isn't it? How even in the most informal, crude conversations, surprising bits of actual knowledge can emerge. And just to clarify for listeners, testicular torsion is a real medical emergency. The spermatic cord twists, cutting off blood flow to the testicle. It needs immediate medical attention. So, not a joke there. Similarly, his mention of placentophagy eating the placenta.
Right, the pill thing.
Yeah, sometimes made into a pill.
Yeah.
It's often done with the belief it has health benefits postpartum, like helping with depression or milk supply. Though, the scientific evidence for those claims is still kind of developing.
Yeah.
It's something people do, though.
Then there's his exploration of his wife not being vocally horny, which leads him to Google what makes women horny.
Okay.
And he gets an article suggesting pregnant women get horny. So he follows up with a friend who confirms she was hornier during her second pregnancy, which was with a boy, leading to his hilarious hypothesis that maybe the baby dictates the mother's horniness based on gender.
Well, this brings up a crucial point, doesn't it? About the persistence of certain taboos and misunderstandings around female sexuality, even now. And that whole segment on men supposedly not caring about their butts.
Yeah.
Versus women liking men's butts, but with not the same energy, he says.
Yeah.
And his vivid descriptions of what men say they want from women's butts compared to what women say about men's, it offers a humorous, if maybe crude, insight into potential gender differences in sexual focus, or at least perceived differences.
Right. And finally, the comedian's frequent visits to the steam room. His wife pulls up an article saying, New York steam rooms are sometimes places where men go to have sex with each other, which leads to his humorous internal conflict. Is he accidentally ruining the sex party by just being a dork in there?
Right.
She then wonders about the practicalities of sex in a 120-degree room.
The larger lesson here, maybe, is how readily assumptions are made about private spaces and personal behaviors. And the comedic friction that arises when your personal experience collides with external perception or, some article you read. Even if it's based on potentially misinterpreted information, it's a reminder that what you think you know about a place or a situation might be very different from the reality.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? We've journeyed through anecdotes about bird poop, Picasso, childbirth, steam rooms. What stands out to you thinking about how easily we misunderstand the world and, ourselves?
This deep dive, sourced from a comedian's unfiltered observations, it truly emphasizes something important. The profound insights and surprising facts aren't always found in academic journals or history books. Sometimes the most telling observations about humanity, our quirks, our misconceptions, they come from the most unexpected and often self-deprecating places. It really encourages you to find the nuggets, like you said, in every conversation, every mundane moment.
Absolutely. And it's not just about finding those nuggets, but maybe appreciating the unexpected sources they can come from. Sometimes the most raw and unfiltered perspective holds the most truth. It reminds us that every personal story, every comedic observation can hold a mirror up to universal truths, offering moments of connection and, yeah, revelation.
So, the next time you find yourself in just an everyday situation, maybe grappling with a new piece of technology or some social awkwardness, consider this. What surprising insight might that moment be revealing about the world or maybe about yourself if you just take a second to truly observe it?